I'm Phyllis. I live in my van.
Hi, I'm at a campground in Shasta Lake, Northern California. It's a beautiful place. The lake is beautiful. We're just at the bottom of the dam at the river, and I'm actually paying to stay here, but since my last video, and even in that video, I've just been staying at little turnouts on the highway and rest areas and the occasional truck stop if I was lucky. And I was just ready to sit still and be in a place where I wasn't going to have to worry about being chased away. So this is only $10 a night, which is a pretty good deal. So I went ahead and paid for 4 nights, but I have zero cell service. And this place apparently is really popular with off-road vehicle people. And right now it's full with giant RVs and ATVs and motorcycles and drunk men yelling at their wives and children. And it's not even the weekend yet. So we'll have to see how it goes. But I do plan on climbing down to the river soon, so we'll see how that goes. I'll tell you a couple little things while we're walking back. I had a couple of weird things happen. One of them was this morning, and it was mildly to moderately weird. And then something a few days ago, which was extremely weird. So let's talk about the milder one first. So I was at a rest area, and sorry, I just saw someone at my van. I was at a rest area, and this guy comes up and he says, "Great van," which happens sometimes. People are curious if they haven't seen a converted van before, and I get it. I get that a lot, actually. And I did what I always do. I said, "Well, you're welcome to come and have a look inside if you'd like to." So he came inside, and he laid down on my couch, like fully laid down on my couch, and said, "Oh, I could take a nap." I didn't get up. And he is ostensibly, he was trying to see if he would fit on the sofa. That's what he said. And I said, "Well, you can try the bed if you want to see if you'll fit in it," because he was 5'10". And he said, "Well, only if you join me." And I just ignored it, and he said it again. And I kicked him out, because that's weird and gross. And that would have been fine if that was the end of it. But right after that, I left that rest area, and I drove to the next one about a half an hour down the road. And guess who knocks on my door? That guy. He said, "Oh, I just pulled in here to use the bathroom, which is bullshit because we were just at another rest area like a half an hour down the road. So he was looking for me or following me. He said, I just want to say I'm not weird. I was like, fine. And I just closed the door. But that was super weird. So I gotta tell you about the other one. Just get back. Ooh. Clearly I don't know how to hold this. Let's get back to my spot. I thought I had recorded the story about the man who offered me money to marry him so we could be a citizen, but apparently my phone misbehaved, or more likely I must have bumped the record button in the middle. So here's what happened. So I was at a rest area in California, and this man came up to the van and he said, wow, cool van, which I'm used to, because if you're not used to seeing vans that have been converted and you're curious about it, maybe you've watched some YouTube videos, when you see one in person, you want to see it. So what I typically do is say, do you want to have a look? So he came inside and we were talking for a few minutes, and he said, I actually wanted to talk to you because I have this business that I want to start. I was like, okay. I was willing to listen. And by the way, I know it might seem like crazy. Why did you let someone sit in your van? I don't recommend doing that if you're not savvy about people, or you're not savvy about the situation. But I was in a rest area during the day, and there were like 50 other people right around there. So there's that. So we talked for like 10 minutes, and he wouldn't say what the business was. He said, no, we'll meet another time. I was like, no. If you want, just say what it is. Or otherwise, we'll just say goodbye right now, and it was very nice meeting you. So he eventually says he was Greek, and he had a green card, I think. And he'd been living here for years, but he wanted to be a citizen. He had businesses here, and it was kind of a hassle to not be a citizen. So he offered to pay me $10,000 to marry him. I was like, that's interesting. Pretty sure that's federal fraud. Yeah. But, I'll play along. Let's hear what you got. So we talked about it, and he had his boat at that time. I think I was just about 2 hours south of San Francisco, or somewhere around there. And he said, come meet me in my boat. I was like, I'll go on a boat. Sounds good to me. And we'll talk and stuff. So that was all fine. Even the offer of payment to marry, that was straight up weird. I acknowledge. Like my son would say, that's one of your hijinks. And by the way, Chris, it was a hijink. So like 2 days later, I get there and I pull in, and the first thing he does is fuss at me for directions. It wasn't clear where to go. He must have seen me turning around and coming back. And he said, I told you yesterday. By the way, it was 2 days before. Dude, I won't say your name. He said, I told you where to go. He didn't. He was pointing at my map app And he said, you go past here and then you go here. That's not exactly directions. So yeah, I was 5 minutes driving around. So that was the first thing he did, was fuss at me. And I'm like, whatever, maybe he's nervous. So he says, where do you want to park? Sorry with my horrible Greek accent. I was like, I don't know. You tell me where to park. This is your marina. So he says, you park up there next to my van. He had this beautiful Sprinter van, of course, one of those fancy ones. Not hating, sort of not hating. So I parked next to his van. And then he says, do you want to see the boat? I was like, well, yeah, I want to see the boat. I'm thinking, and wouldn't y'all think after this, if he invites you down to see his boat and he's offering you money to marry him, wouldn't you think you're going like on a boat ride at least? At least can I have a freaking ride on this beautiful boat? No, that's not what happened. So we go, and by the way, outside San Francisco. Beautiful boat. This marina must have cost a fortune. So I'm thinking maybe he's a little nervous, the whole situation. We go in, goes the little keypad, and we go in to go to his boat. He's like, shh. I was like, he said, voices carry. I was like, all right, I have a loud voice. I get it. I'll be quiet. And then we get on the boat. By the way, beautiful boat. So we get on the boat and we're sitting like on the, I don't know what you call areas of the boat, like on the deck, thinking that maybe the prow, the front of the boat. And we're talking there for a few minutes. He said, let's go inside. I was like, fine. Thinking he's just going to want to show me the boat. We go inside. Oh my God. It's teak, beautiful, gorgeous. By the way, messy. You, dude, you're messy. You should be ashamed. Beautiful boat. Oh, to have it so clean. So we go in there and he says, we're down here so no one can hear us. I was like, fine. You're all paranoid because of this apparent deal we're talking about. But it's just, I felt like he was fussing at me and he kept looking at me weird, looking at my clothes. And I was wearing denim shorts and a tank top. But, when you think you're going on a boat, maybe you don't wear like a cocktail dress. And he was just weird and irritable, and he said I was irritable, and I was like, fine, I'm going to go take a break. So I went back to my van for like 15 minutes, and then I came back. And I said, here's the deal. I think you're nervous about the situation, and you're nervous about someone hearing about what we're talking about. So how about and I was trying to say, like, go to a restaurant, or we just take a ride in my van, and that way you don't have to worry about people overhearing us. And he interrupted me. No. And so I kept talking to try to get my point across. After he interrupted me. And he says, you interrupt me. I did not interrupt you. You do not interrupt me. My friends. Do I look like a person who tolerates that kind of bullshit? No. From a man, my whole life, I've had men talking to me like that. I'm just like, oh my God, I did it again. I found a fucking asshole man who just, all he wanted to do was treat me like shit. By the way, I would have gotten way more than 10 out of him. So he says that, you do not interrupt me. I was like, you want me to do you a favor. And you invite me here. I drive out of my way to visit you. And you treat me like shit. So, I got up. I just left. I didn't say anything, I just left. So that's that bullshit. That's weird. I know, my son says, hijinks just happen to you, but I do put myself into those situations. But anyway, that's what happened. Thank you. I found a little turnout on the road. Oh. My overlander said he got a knock on the door at night from a cop, but if it happens, it happens. Look, another houseboat. Take me with you. I want to go.
You go from there. You got the lid?
And I'll pay someone to video me going down that hill because it was bad. And this nice young lady offered to help me. That was so sweet of you.
Yeah, if you need help up, I can help you up too.
Up isn't as bad as down. It's funny how you can have just like a really bad day and people aren't nice and just being a super crowded place, like full of RVs with their freaking generators running 24/7. And then now I'm parked on the side of the road in this place that's absolutely breathtaking. Okay, this is the path back up. I think you can see my van up there, yeah. I won't be able to film me climbing up this horrible hill because I have to have both hands. It's not gonna be. I'm gonna show you two things right now. Number one, how silly I look. And number two, look at my van. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That poor baby is crazy dirty. But look how silly I look. Oh, sorry about that. Like I'm wearing a, get in the picture. I've got my, oh my God, I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes. I've got my little holster belt on, which is like a fanny pack. And then I tied some granola bars to my belt because I was gonna offer it to those folks. But this is just my real life. I did get up there.